Hello, I'm Laserhawk, aka Libanel. You may know me, you may not. That doesn't matter because I'm not the focus of this video. The focus is on Jakee Arnold and Romance Ryder. These are two ex-members of the Rift City, and this video is being made before people get confused what is happening and start throwing accusations around. This video will be very similar to the Red Chaos video, and like it, this video does not give anyone the right to harass or attack Jakee or Romance or anyone mentioned in this video, though I will allow any ill will towards me as I made this video and this is my choice and my response to the situation. This video is to address the things they've done so that everyone who wants to know will know. Also, note, both Jakee and Romance didn't want me to make this video because they don't want to stir up any more drama, and at first I was willing to do so, but because the situation has only gotten worse, I am making this video. I'm sorry I didn't keep my promise, but I can't keep waiting for nothing. Lastly, Romance did apologize on Twitter for any distress she may have caused, and also apologized to me for making accusations against me. Even though she apologized, it doesn't undo what she did, as well as the people should know what happened before giving Romance their trust. So without further ado, let's begin. First, let's start with Jakee Arnold, as he was the first to cause trouble. Jakee is the creator of the Rift City and was the leader of the Rift City until he left. Now obviously he didn't leave without reason. Prior to his leave, he had several debates with one of our members, who we've talked to extensively about the issue. Jakee was also told off for being a terrible leader. Again, we talked to the person that said this extensively. I also believe Jakee had other reasons for leaving, but he said it was his business, so Jakee left the Rift City. After his leave, the mod staff decided to plan how we will elect a new leader. Now, this debate had come up before when Jakee thought he was going to die. At the time, Jakee recommended that Romance lead. Some of the mods were concerned with the choice, being she had never been a mod before, but we accepted Jakee's decision. So, I contacted Romance, asking if she wanted to lead, and she said yes. Then, Snog recommended that I also run for the position because I have had more experience. Jakee then said it was our decision, and Snog and I agreed that it should be a group vote. Now, we never voted because Jakee survived, so we didn't need to vote for it at the time. Then, later when Jakee left, we picked up where we left off the discussion before. We decided to make the vote public to let Romance run and me. Romance was recommended by Jakee, and I was recommended by Snogritz, Patrick Robery, and Robert Hu. We also gave everyone 48 hours to put their name on the ballot to run for the leader. No one applied. So, the only applicants were Romance and myself because of recommendation. The vote began and we gave people 7 days to vote, and during this time, Jakee came back, though Jakee at the time seemed okay with the vote and even participated in it. Then, on the day the vote was scheduled to end, Jakee made a new chat room where he stated he wanted to take control of the Rift City again. Early in the morning, or early for me, a person who lives in the EST time zone, Jakee made a new chat room and pulled a bunch of people into this chat room and talked about wanting to become the owner again and fire the mod staff. Now, I did talk to him about this later, and he said those were suggestions, but by the way he asked to take control back as well as fire the mods, it sounded more like a demand. Plus, he pulled people into a conversation without their permission, and the conversation led to him fighting with another one of our members. Jakee was seen as untrustworthy after this, and we kept tabs on him. As of right now, he is not a member of the Rift City because he is no longer in the chat rooms, as well as I have removed him from the Google Drive because he showed no interest in helping the group. So Jakee is considered no longer a member of the Rift City. Maybe that will change in the future, but I don't know. I will still offer a handout in friendship, but I don't know if Jakee will take it, and I won't blame him if he doesn't. Now, next on our list is Romance Ryder. Romance Ryder was another member of the Rift City and is definitely gone and not coming back. Or at least that's what she said when she left screaming on Twitter, DA, and YouTube. DA being DeviantArt. Now, before she said that, she did declare that she was planning on leaving, but the process was accelerated when a few members voiced concerns about her, mainly towards her new boyfriend, because a little before her announcing she was leaving, she got a new boyfriend. I will obviously not name the boyfriend, but a few members of the Rift City knew him because of creepy behavior in the past, and when they voiced their concerns to Romance, she got defensive and ignored the advice. Now, I can see how she could have seen the advice as an attack, though if you're going to claim it as an attack, I'd love to see some evidence of this. This topic came up briefly after Romance's announcement to leave the Rift City. She had a short argument with one of our members and decided to leave right then, and from that moment, she has no longer been a member of the Rift City. After that, I decided to hear the whole story by interviewing everyone involved that I could think of, and then the rabbit hole got a lot deeper. Firstly, let's talk about how she poorly announced her leave on Twitter, DA, and YouTube. Let's start with her YouTube announcement. She claims that someone was interfering with something important to her, probably someone showing her evidence that her boyfriend might be a creep. She said she felt like a ghost in the group and never mentioned it to a mod or anyone that I know of. She also says that only 3 people turned to her for help. Care to explain why that's important? Maybe she put that there to say only 3 people think I'm not a ghost, but the whole ghost thing seems really silly to me. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember talking to Romance on multiple occasions, like when Red Chaos was causing trouble, or when we had group meetings, or during live streams, even during the time Jakee was stirring up trouble. I talked to her, and so did several others. So how did she feel like a ghost, and why did she never mention this to the mod staff? The mod staff was made for these kinds of issues, to give people someone they can come to with problems within the Rift City. Now, I do appreciate her remaining friends with Rift City members, because the last thing I want to do is for her to lose friends, and even now, I will offer her a hand in friendship as well. It's her choice to take it, and I won't blame her if she doesn't. Now, let's look at her Twitter announcement. There really isn't much to pull from it, other than she's saying that she felt uncomfortable in the Rift City, and she felt she didn't deserve to be there. So, let's just move on to the DeviantArt post. Again, says she didn't deserve to be in the group. She says things have gone downhill since the new leader took over. The new leader is me, by the way, so basically she's blaming me, which makes sense. But of course there would be less trouble if Romance asked the mods for help or talked to her friends for help. She also doesn't explain what small things she was being judged for. Then says she doesn't consider one of our members a friend anymore and she feels betrayed. Well, Romance wasn't the only one who felt betrayed, and I'll explain that later in the video. She said she tried to help and got ignored. Again, could have PM'd the mod. Also, evidence of this would be great. Romance said she got slapped on the wrist and was upset about that, so you all know I slapped her on the wrist because she was being hypocritical and her sympathy got in the way and kept her from seeing what Jakee did was wrong. Romance made hypocritical statements as well as sided with Jakee, even though she later admitted that Jakee's plan wasn't a good idea. Lastly, she said she's not coming back and we shouldn't try to trick her to come back. I don't know why she'd think we'd try to trick her, but okay then, she doesn't need to worry about that. Second thing I want to talk about is the claims that Romance has made against me and a few others after she left. Because after she left, she went crying to Jakee, which makes sense because they're good friends, but then makes these claims for why she is upset with little to no evidence. First, she complains about what I think was when 2 of our members told Romance they were worried about her boyfriend because of previous actions he had committed. Once again, I can see why she might think this is an attack, but I think it's more because she is overly sensitive, and once again, evidence would always be great. Romance said she informed the mod about it, and the mod agreed that her friends were in the right for voicing their concerns. So instead of contacting another mod, she told the people involved to keep it quiet, and as you can all tell, that didn't work out, because here we are. She also mentions that as long as she was in the Rift City, she can't have a relationship without people bringing up Red. That statement I understand because we will always have our concerns about Romance and anyone really when in a relationship in the Rift City. That's why we'll excuse those members for a short period of time if they need to rest. Though Romance, I'm pretty sure even outside the Rift City, people would be concerned of another Red Chaos situation, so here's your warning. Next comment is towards me saying it was wrong of me to question her love life. So apparently it's wrong to have concerns for my friend who explained that she has had several rushed relationships in quick succession. I question her love life because it's questionable. Going in and out of relationships in such quick succession isn't a good idea, and Romance isn't the only person I know that has done this. I can name 2 other people I know that have done this, one friend and one family member. One of those has gone through more relationships than I can hardly remember their names. So, if this next relationship of hers fails, firstly, I'm sorry, and secondly, take a break. The follow-up comment claims that it was wrong of me for questioning whether or not there was something between Romance and Jakee, and also that the mod that knew about Romance's new boyfriend should have told me by this time. In regards to this, 1, Romance literally mentioned that Jakee said he loved her. Usually don't announce something like this to the world unless you have similar feelings or you're asking for help from a friend about a situation. But because this was in a YouTube video, I doubt she was asking for friendly advice. 2, the mod didn't tell me until later because Romance told people that knew about her boyfriend to shut up. So the mod was honoring her wishes to keep quiet. 3, this video was posted on April 12th, which from what I can recall was weeks before she mentioned it to the group, and it was only days before she left was I informed, because the mod withheld the information until I saw it was crucial. The mod followed her request to her own detriment. Next stab at me was questioning her mental health that she had made known to the group, and everyone knew she was struggling with depression and suicidal thoughts. And I also believe she had separation anxiety as well as maybe something else. We, in the Rift City, knew for a fact she wasn't feeling well, and she told us this. Though multiple times we offered to talk to her about it, and she has said she didn't want to. Which, I understand not wanting to talk about it, Romance, but if you don't talk about it, it will get worse unless you're able to handle it. And as you can tell, it wasn't the latter. Once again, Romance accuses someone for having real concerns of her actual health, and once again she brushes it to the side and ignores any help we give her. Alright, the last parts of the message is her saying she would be happy dead, and reading that just makes me both sad and angry. Sad because I feel the same way a lot of the time and I don't want her to suffer like this. And then I feel angry because of all the times we tried to help her and offer it so willingly and she ignored it. She did talk to some people about it, but it clearly wasn't enough, and that was a slap to the face for anyone that has tried to help her and she turned down. Even now, I know that there are people from the Rift City still reaching out to Romance, offering help, and I hope that she will take it so that she never feels this way again. We still care about her even after all of these horrific accusations, and there are still more accusations I haven't covered yet. So, let's talk about them, so that I can show the world how disappointed I am in you, Romance. I mentioned earlier that Romance wasn't the only person that felt betrayed. When talking to Romance and other people involved with the situation, I found multiple times where she insulted multiple members in the Rift City. First thing I'd like to cover is how Romance said she was sad she lost a vote for becoming the new leader of the Rift City. Which makes sense, losing isn't fun. But then she said I wasn't worthy to lead and that she were better. Romance said I shouldn't be able to lead because all I've done is hold live streams, while she has held dramatic readings and audio dramas. That is incredibly egotistical, saying that what I've done isn't good enough to lead, saying because she held big projects before, and I will not lie, they were big, and I could tell she spent a lot of time and effort on them. But to say that is better than all the work I've done is incredibly egotistical for her and insulting to me. Now, let's ignore for a second how egotistical that was, just because she forgot to mention everything else I did for the Rift City. I made a new Google account, so all the mods could stream. I made a new YouTube page, so again, all the mods could stream, as well as post videos and support all of our members' channels. I also made a Twitter account to support the Rift City's streams and its members' content. I also made the entire Google Drive folder, where we keep just about everything related to the Rift City. And last, but certainly not least, because I made the Rift City Google account, I also made the files and folders for mods. For example, all of my evidence on Romance and Jakee is backed up there so we don't forget. Okay, next accusation she made was accusing the mod staff of rigging the vote. This is a slap to the face to me and the entire mod staff, as well as everyone who voted. She thought that we would rig the vote, or that I would rig the vote. How horrible of a person does she think I am? Or any of the mods for that matter. It is insulting that she would accuse her friends of rigging a vote so she would lose, and even looking past how insulting that was, does she have any evidence of this? No, I don't think so. I, however, have evidence of the votes, who voted, and why people voted for who. You see, I wanted to make sure when people voted, they had a reason to vote for who they wanted to lead, and that was a question on our poll to prove that all the votes were genuine. Now, I'm not a very clever person, at least I don't think so I doubt I could probably forge one's writing style. Sure, all the print looks the same because it's typed, but the sentence structure and the quote-unquote speech patterns in the text are something I can't replicate. Though, if you still don't trust me, you can ask everyone that voted, and hopefully they will feel free to share who they voted for, and then you'll know she still lost, because I never cheated. Also, she was not the first person who thought I might cheat. The mod staff said I shouldn't be trusted with the votes, which is why I made it on the Rift City account, so the mods could check to make sure I didn't cheat, and not one mod ever accused me of cheating after that because they knew they could catch me if I tried, and I didn't. So, once again, I will say how insulted I was to find out that she said this. Once again, I will remind her that she felt betrayed and she wasn't the only one who felt betrayed. And once again, how dare she make such accusations without any evidence at all. She then talked about how no one questioned the vote and tries to defend Jakee by saying he was the reason we were all brought together. Now, Jakee was the reason we were all put together, and I will always thank him for that. Jakee has massively improved my life, and I will never forget that. Having said that, he still made very questionable actions and couldn't be trusted to lead. Also, Romance, I think you forgot why the vote started in the first place, so allow me to remind you. Jakee left. He said he didn't want to be in the Rift City anymore, and left. We didn't have a leader for the entire time the vote was happening. Now, Jakee did return to the Rift City, but we didn't give him his job back because what was to stop him from leaving again? Nothing as far as I knew. People didn't question the vote because we all agreed there should be a leader to help direct the Rift City. Jakee left us and we agreed to vote for a new leader. Next, she said she thought people were mad at her for being sympathetic towards Jakee, and once again complained that I was mad at her for being sympathetic and being a hypocrite. I already explained that her sympathy got in the way of her seeing what Jakee was doing and how it was wrong. I already explained how hypocritical she was. I already explained why I gave her a slap on the wrist for it. So, let's move on. She then says that she was upset that the mod staff kept things private as well as didn't make the vote public. Like any good mod staff, we don't announce problems until we have a solution. Everything we do will become public as soon as we have a plan. Never once have I or any of the mods hidden what we've been doing behind the scenes, because I like to stress transparency with all of our actions. I know very well that nothing stays a secret forever, which is why I don't hide things from the Rift City. Also, once again, Romance, do you have any evidence of this? And once again, she says no. Then in regards to making the vote public, we did. All members were allowed to vote. If she meant public by letting anyone vote, like if we held it on Twitter, people that don't even understand what we do in the Rift City could vote. Anyone could tell their friends that don't know a single thing about the Rift City to vote for a certain person. Making the vote for the leader public to absolutely anyone is incredibly stupid. That's like letting me, an American citizen, vote for the Prime Minister of the UK. We kept the vote to members because the members are the people who will be affected the most by the change in leadership. She also said that she should have been leader because Jakee wanted her to lead. Jakee did want her to lead, and the mod staff knew this and acknowledged it, though we explained concerns for her leading, and Jakee agreed that the mod should decide. Then I was recommended to run, and we agreed to make the vote public to all members of the Rift City. Hey, this bit is being recorded after because I forgot to write about it earlier, but Romance also said I was being biased by adding Mira and Patrick to the mod staff. Again, she has no evidence of this. Mira and Patrick, for your information, have been applicants for mod promotion for months before we added them, so if you'd like to argue that I added them purely due to bias, please try, because I'm sure all the mods that also wanted them in would love to hear it. Alright, I'm done. I've said all the things I need to and probably more than that. To summarize what happened, Jakee left the Rift City, losing his spot as leader, but then came back and caused more trouble. We voted for a new leader, and when Romance lost, she talked behind the backs of Rift City members. She then later left because she didn't feel well, and whenever we tried to help, she ignored us. If you watched all the way through this video, thank you. I hope it helped you in some way, shape, or form. I hope that I won't have to keep making these kinds of videos, but I'm sure I will. For now, however, that's it. I hope you all have a great day, take care of yourself, and remember to stay positive.